to do that, but then I just... Yeah, I didn't oil the chair. Very funny. Okay, you know what? I gotta figure out where it's squeaking from. I gotta see if I, like, tighten it. Probably oil it. I gotta go find some, what would be best for that? I guess you could WD-40 it, but that's, yeah, you don't want to use WD-40. It's more cleaner. Yeah. Yeah, I got to see if we have something like that. I'm not really sure. I'm sure I've got something somewhere that'll work. You know what? gun gun oil. That'll probably do it. Um, in a pinch, yeah, that'll 100%, right? Aloha, sir. Yeah, I'm gonna toss a clip on here as soon as I have a clip a couple of minutes long, and I'm gonna go see if I can find some freaking mine out of the gutter. You. Let's see. Let me get everything all set up here. Gotta share the camera for the rest of you people on DLive and elsewhere. There we go. That's right. All right. Well, let's see. Browsers. Ready? Go. Refusing to full screen. All right. There we are. Now let's see if I have anything tagged since this morning. Oh yes, I do. This is a few days old at this point, so a number of you have probably seen it. This is speaking of getting your minds out of the gutter. This is at Amherst College, which was founded over 2 centuries ago to prepare young Christian men for ministry. Nowadays, however, in what was clearly at one time a church, on the spot where the altar was, or is, depending on how you look at it, we have this. This is apparently a, what would you call it? An event designed to promote sexual respect, I believe was how they put it. They don't say that here, but saw that in another post about this. Part of their sexual skills programs, with a focus on queer and transgender students, as you can see on the column here. Doing it, who even knows why. At what was once, again, a Christian college, founded to prepare young men for ministry, on what used to be the altar of a church on the premises. Goodness gracious. God help us. Oh, it's so funny. Oh, I think someone just exclaimed something about being a slut there. It was difficult to make out, but yeah. Boy, this is getting big play today. Some lady harassing a Target employee who happened to be wearing a red Charlie Kirk Freedom shirt.
Why?
They let you wear that shirt here?
Yes. Why?
So,
Why are you taking my picture?
why are you wearing that shirt? You're working. It's not
It's a red shirt. I can wear any red shirt.
It's not a plain shirt.
It doesn't have to be
It's a Charlie Kirk shirt.
Yes. Yes, I know.
Are you fucking stupid?
No.
Why the fuck would you wear that? You're at work at Target. That's not a Target shirt. It's not a plain red shirt. You support a racist.
It's not racist.
You support a racist.
He's not a racist.
Yes, he is.
No, he's not.
Yes, he fucking is.
I'm sorry, but I'm not going to stand here and argue with you.
You're not. You should go get your manager. You should not be allowed to wear that at work. Unacceptable. Unfucking acceptable.
That's your opinion.
The opinion is he's a fucking racist and you support him.
That's your opinion. Have
And
a nice day.
you should not be allowed to wear that.
Where is it? Where is it? Come on, YouTube. There it is.
Yeah, well, you know, that's just like your opinion, man.
Great movie. Totally says the line. I think she's a closet Big Lebowski fan.
This is going to be taken above your fucking head. That's insane.
Have a
Insane.
nice day.
Insane.
Crazy
Piece of shit.
people. Yep. Get your manager, ma'am. Get your manager. All the same. Oh, what is this? Oh, here's Rob Reiner. Since he's like the topic the last couple days. Conspiring with John Brennan and Jim Clapper to overthrow the democratically elected President Trump as part of the Russiagate conspiracy. Yeah, he had this thing, I forget what he called it. Like the committee to something Trump. I forget what it was.
Either person can sit at either place.
Either place.
Whatever's good for you.
I don't think either one of us has a good side.
You don't
so it
have a
doesn't
good
matter.
side. It doesn't
We're both
matter.
bad sides.
All right, I meet
Yeah,
you.
Reiner was
We're
freaking
both
fried,
pathologically
man.
challenged. So thank you for coming. I really
Trump
appreciate
broke
it.
him.
The thing that to me is so frustrating is that this cataclysmic thing happened to our country, and people don't seem to understand.
I mean, it does really kind of make
it.
you wonder if there's something deeper going on there. Like, really. I have to bring up again also the in spite of the many good things that the people that know him say about him, on a personal level, really gotta wonder about what made that kid of theirs so fucked up.
Understand the gravity of it, and you know, you guys were talking about how, you know, it's unusual for people who have been. How many years experience do you have between you, would you say?
Well, Jim has several hundred, I think.
Probably 80 or 90
Yeah,
between the
okay,
two of us.
I mean, this
So
goes
here
on
you
for
are.
like 22 minutes, but the point is he did it. He met with them, filmed this absurd exercise here. Interesting detail. Nick Reiner was reportedly acting erratically with guests at Conan O'Brien's Christmas party on Saturday night, mere hours before parents were found dead. I believe, I'm not entirely sure on this, but I believe Rob Reiner and maybe the wife were also there, and there was an argument of some kind that played out between them and the son. I guess he's supposed to appear in court today, huh? I think that's all. Oh, no, I definitely want to play that. Yeah. Sure, I want to play that one. Department of War's Office of the General Counsel is escalating the preliminary review of Captain Mark Kelly to an official command investigation. That's good. Dude's a psychopath. And I think they're trying to position him for a run because the rest of the field is garbage. I'm going to stand by that. Really think they're building him up as their hero. They're constructing a hero. Because the rest of the pool is just too tainted at this point. Like he's a up to this point relatively quiet compared to the rest of the presidential candidate field on their side. Doesn't come with a lot of the baggage that all of them come with, the recent baggage especially. I think they're building him up as like their guy. We'll see if that pans out. But okay, that's old. Okay, this is definitely notable, definitely interesting. Comedian John Crist says after attending a recent Tucker Carlson party, he realized the world is a stage. Why, you ask? Because apparently Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Turning Point USA's staff were all very friendly with each other behind the scenes, despite, well, you know, all the bullshit that goes on publicly. Chris says he was told the public feuds are largely for entertainment value and career advancement. Now, I will say, I guess it may depend on when exactly this party was, because I don't think the feuding really started until like the last couple months, right? I guess since Charlie killed. So I don't know. I don't know if he says when the party was though. Let's see.
Tucker Carlson's there. Marjorie Taylor Greene is there.
Wow.
Candace Owens is there.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, Lydia, Candace Owens is here. She's like, what? Well, I go, Candace is here. She goes, tell her I'm reading her book. I go, not Candace Bure. Candace Owens is here.
Yeah.
She was like, what?
The other one.
The real one.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? And then and there's like a bunch of Turning Point people there. There's a bunch of like, I wrote down a list of everybody that I saw there. A bunch of comics were there. Brennan Shaw, Theo, a bunch of people, a bunch of MMA fighters in there. And I was like, I go, all right, this is what I always have thought about those kind of things, and I'll just say it out loud for everybody listening. And I've said this before in some kind of context. There was Turning Point people there, and Candace Owens was there, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Tucker Carlson. I hate to say this out loud. Everybody friends. Everybody friends. Mm-hmm. And I've said that before. Mm-hmm. And I go, I've heard before about Washington, D.C. Mm-hmm. It's like we saw like the Democratic majority leader and like the Republican, they're at dinner. I go, yeah, everybody friends. Mm-hmm. And everybody like kind of in like, we would see, like, let's say like Theo's good buddy of ours, he would be like doing something where you're like, oh yeah, it's kind of just for the thing, for their job. They just kind of have to they kind of got to be on the sidelines and dump Gatorade on the coat. That's like kind of,
they're entertaining.
That's what their thing is. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I go, wait, I thought you, because the thing he said about shouldn't you guys be fighting? Mm-hmm. Shouldn't you guys be fist fighting in the center of this party?
Yeah.
Everybody, hey, you want a drink?
Yeah.
Everybody.
Interesting. Right. So I gotta, you know what? Got yesterday's YouTube chat up. I gotta pull that up. Pardon-moi. There we go. Hello. There we are. Now I see you guys. All right, let's keep going. Hmm. Oh, yeah, this is pretty weird. So I guess this is it's that leftist group that Kash Patel announced it arrested like 4 members the other day for like training with explosives in the desert or some shit. Something like that, right? So they're a group apparently called the Turtle Island Liberation Front, described as a pro-Palestinian extremist group. They apparently have a YouTube channel with only one video posted 2 months ago. This is the video.
And our world is filled
What?
with evil. But our God, you guys, our God is so good. So incredibly good.
A black kid was found hanging from a tree in Mississippi, and something really doesn't add up about this entire story.
You guys are fucking Nazis! You are fucking Nazis! The evildoers responsible for my husband's assassination have no idea what they have done. They killed Charlie because he preached a message of patriotism, faith,
It's bizarre.
and advanced pharmacy. They should all know this. If you thought that my husband's mission was powerful before,
Bizarre. Goes on for, I don't know, yeah, 3.5 minutes. Continues with Erica Kirk and all the footage claiming fascism's here and white people are lynching black people and cuckoo. Pretty weird. All right. Well, their description reads, official Turtle Island Liberation Front YouTube channel. We believe in full decolonization and land back for all occupied and oppressed peoples in the world. Oh, okay. Whoever does that. Oh, this is definitely notable and pretty damn weird. Apparently, the Obamas planned to meet with Rob Reiner and his wife on the very night that they were killed. Presumably, like, around the time they were killed. It's kind of weird. Kind of weird. I don't know. Is the son of Patsy? Scapegoat? Or was he mad about him meeting with the Obamas for some reason? Like, what the fuck even, like, what even happened here, man? Very weird. Very strange. Anyway, okay, that's all I got. Now, move to Miss Steph's coverage of the day here. The White House doing anything this evening? It doesn't look like. Golly, freaking chair. Nope. Okay. I heard Trump's set to address the nation tomorrow at 9 p.m. over something. I don't know if it's known what just yet. It's something. We shall see. All right. Did we pick up here? Come on. All right. That's like early this morning. Cool. Now that we're even gonna have time to get through all of it. Not here. All right. We'll pick it up like somewhere halfway in here. Let's mark Kelly bitching about, let's see, refuses to end his effort to destabilize the executive branch.
It wasn't enough for Donald Trump to say I should be hanged, which prompted death threats against me and my family. It wasn't enough for Pete Hegseth to announce a sham investigation on social media. Now they are threatening everything I fought for and served for over 25 years in the U.S. Navy, all because I repeated something every service member is taught. It should send a shiver down the spine of every patriotic American that this president and Secretary of Defense would so corruptly abuse their power to come after me or anyone this way. The United States has the most professional military in the world. What I don't trust is Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth, who have already shown they will stop at nothing and corrupt any process to make an example out of me. I will keep doing my job representing Arizona, whether that is voting to stop healthcare premiums from skyrocketing for families, calling out these tariffs that are driving up costs, or standing up against anyone who threatens our Constitution and the rule of law.
Oh, there he goes. I think this is, yeah, we've heard that basically. Yeah. Okay, horrific. Civil rights will investigate, Harmeet Dillon says, in reference to what? Orthodox Jews violently assaulted in New York City subway as attackers hurled anti-Semitic insults and threatened to kill them. Like literally on the subway. All right. Every damn time. Pretty much one type of person that assaults people in New York subways. Y'all know it. And people are getting tired of that shit. All right, let's see. What's next? Jamie Ratskin to introduce bill to require review of White House renovation plans. Oh, boy. Speaking of, the ballroom is expected to be completed summer of 2028. So, just in time to round out the end of the Trump admin. Or the current Trump admin, I guess. Who knows where the future will take us, right? The alleged father and son gunmen who killed at least 15 people at Australia's Bondi Beach traveled to the Philippines in the weeks leading up to the attack and may have been inspired by ISIS. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said. ISIS, the old standby. Luigi Mangione returns to court as his defense argues that Altoona, Pennsylvania police illegally searched his backpack and his person during his arrest last December. It sounds like they did. It sounds pretty much like that's how it went. Yeah. They messed up. And they knew it at the time, too. Okay, Scott Besson here. What? Hey, where the economy setting?
So we should think that 2025 was setting the table. 2026 is going to be a bountiful year if the Democrats don't shut down the government, because they were unable to stop President Trump. They tried to stop him in the courts. They tried to stop him in the media. Then they went to the extreme. We had the longest government shutdown in history. It was a hit to GDP, slowed things down. We're still going to finish the year probably 3.5% GDP growth, which is incredible.
Unbelievable.
With a shrinking budget deficit. So we have very good momentum coming into next year. The economy is broadening out. You can see it. Other sectors of the stock market away from big tech are doing very well. But if they try to shut down the government, I believe that the Senate Republicans should immediately forego the filibuster, keep the government open, and let the economy do its thing. Because the one big beautiful bill, there are so many parts to that are kicking in. We've had 15% uptake in capital expenditure. Capital expenditure historically always leads to job growth. We had the president fulfilled his promises to working Americans, no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime, and auto deductibility for American-made cars. There are going to be substantial refunds to working American households in the first quarter. They will change their withholding. They will get an increase in real incomes. So I am very optimistic that for working Americans, for job growth, for capital formation, but we cannot let the Democrats shut down the government.
Well, we shall see how tax time goes. Vance visiting Pennsylvania, talking affordability. All right.
Dave McCormick. Good morning to you, Senator.
Good morning, Ainsley. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much. So the vice president's going to Pennsylvania, going to be speaking at the Uline warehouse in Allentown. And this is very important. Your state's very important, a purple state. So the president was there in Pennsylvania about a week ago on the 9th of December. How does the message there in Pennsylvania, how will that affect the rest of the country? Because everyone's going to be listening. Everyone's concerned about the cost of living.
Well, unfortunately, I won't be able to join the VP because of some votes we had today, but I was with the president last week, and I think the message is really clear. Message number one, the Biden economy was a disaster. Inflation was 22% over 4 years. Wages didn't keep up. It put enormous pressure on working families. Point number two, the first year of the Trump administration has made enormous progress. The average inflation during Biden was 5%. Under Trump, it's 2.7%. But the important thing is wages were 4%. So people have more money in their pockets than they did a year ago, but they're still feeling a lot of pressure. And in the new year, I think they're going to see a lot more money in their pockets because of the big beautiful bill and the things that are in there, the no tax on tips and no tax on overtime, the fact that there's a child care tax credit. But we got to keep focused on the president's agenda, deregulation, energy dominance, and I think that's what the story will be about. Progress, but we know you're feeling some pain, and we got to keep pushing.
Yeah, Dave, the president, he sat down with the Wall Street Journal on Friday in the Oval Office, and he said, I'm not sure if my tax cuts, if the investment commitments, if the tariffs, if they're going to kick in before the midterms. What do you say?
I'm pretty optimistic that the American people are going to see some big gains in 2026. They're going to have more money in their pocket. You know, a family of four that makes $50,000, $60,000 a year is going to have a couple $1,000s more in their pocket than they did a year ago because of the big beautiful.
Hold on. Okay, so had a weird, like, the power just like cycled. Sorry. Yep, hopefully still running. We're all good. Got battery backup, but all my monitors went off and camera went off. Okay, November jobs report in. U.S. added 64,000 new jobs, only 50,000 affected. Yes. Police went to a man's home after he posted on Facebook that he intended to off himself following the Philadelphia Eagles losing. Was that important, huh?
Yeah.
How much money did you have riding on it?
The Eagles lost, and I know. Okay, fine. The loss in the fucking bar. Oh, the fucking Jalen Hurts.
Oh, not sharing. What? Oh, sorry. Yeah, it looks like it froze when the power cycled. I gotta start the share. 1 second. Yes. Okay. Well, here's Rob Reiner whining about Trump. I don't know when this was, but
have a racist in the White House. We have a sexist in the White House, and he is tearing away at the fabric of our democracy.
The single most unqualified human being to ever assume the presidency of the United States. He's mentally unfit.
People always say, you know, you could redo All in the Family. I said, what do you mean? We're living it. We've got Archie in the White House. He always, when he quotes something that isn't him, and they're talking about Donald Trump, he goes, well, Donald Trump, bo, 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 bo. Every character is exactly the same. Well, Donald Trump, bo, 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 every time. And he always does that walk where he does like this, you know? Always.
The problem he has, as far as I can see, is that he's a pathological liar. People have to understand our democracy is being taken away from us. Make no mistake, we have a year before this country becomes a full-on autocracy. This is not a political party anymore. I don't know what this is. I believe there's a Christian nationalist movement that's very frightening. Do we want to continue democracy or?
Wow. Yep, it broke him, man. Completely. Really kind of makes you wonder. What was really going on with him? What really went down the other night? What the fuck happened, man? What was he into? What was he doing? Obama was apparently gonna meet him? Like, what? That night? Let me see if I can find any discussion about that, actually. Oh, Michelle Obama was on Jimmy Kimmel and commented on it? Really?
Now, if you didn't stay up late last night, you missed former First Lady, Chicago's very own Michelle Obama and Jimmy Kimmel, who told a great Cubs WGN story, but also talked about the Obama's friendship with Rob and Michelle Reiner.
We've known them for many, many years, and we were supposed to be seeing them that night, last night. And we got the news. And let me just say this, unlike some people, Rob and Michelle Reiner are some of the most decent, courageous people you.
So I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means they were supposed to show up at the, I don't know, Brian Christmas party or whatever. Or if they were supposed to go visit them privately at their home. I don't know. Definitely weird. Criminals in DC commit crimes in the morning, and because of those social justice laws, they're out by the end of the day, the very same day. Not even the next day.
In Washington, D.C., unless you commit murder, nobody's going to jail. That's been the problem in Washington, D.C. They have a liberal Metro Council that has passed excessive criminal justice reforms to the point to where unless you commit a murder, you're not going to have to be held accountable. And what you see is criminals, they commit crimes in the morning in Washington, D.C., and then they're out back on the streets, and by the evening they commit the same crime again. This happens over and over and over, and our brave men and women in the Metro Police Department, they finally came forward and said enough is enough. Not only are our criminal justice laws in Washington, D.C. a joke that inspire criminals to come to Washington, D.C., but we also have crime statistics that are not factual. We've been told to lie about the crime statistics to show that the crime was going down when in fact it was going up. That's what they used, these statistics, when President Trump ordered the National Guard to come to Washington, D.C. The Democrats in Congress and Democrats in Washington, D.C., they tried to say, oh, but look, the facts are that crime's going down, when every single one of us who have to work in Washington, D.C. know this is a crime-infested city.
Yep. Always has been. Out of focus. There we go. All right. Killings of Rob Reiner and his wife stun Hollywood as decision on charges for their son loom. Okay, scheduled to appear in a Los Angeles court today, where prosecutors are expected to file formal charges. It probably happened. Get to it. Biden attended a fundraiser for his presidential library, which we covered yesterday. How terribly that fundraising is going. Not even close. They're like not even 5% of the way to their target. It's pathetic. I guess he delivered a speech here. We only get 30 seconds, but oh my God.
The world who does. Not because we're special. Who does?
Okay.
If we don't lead, who leads in the world?
That's right.
Russia? China? Who leads? So we have to. We owe it to our own families. And America, we owe it to the world. We can get it done. So, and I'm announcing that I'm not running for any area.
Angry yelling. Complete with angry yelling. Old man yells at cloud.
Thank you all very much.
All right. God knows what that moron needs a library for. Labor Secretary announces strike team going to Minnesota to investigate fraud. Good. Susie Wiles. Oh yeah, I saw this. I don't know what this was in reference to. But the article published early this morning is a disingenuously framed hit piece on me and the finest president, White House staff, and cabinet in history. Significant context was disregarded, and much of what I and others said about the team and the president was left out of the story. I assume after reading it that this was done to paint an overwhelmingly chaotic and negative narrative about the president and our team. The truth is the Trump White House has already accomplished more in 11 months than any other president accomplished in 8 years, due to the unmatched leadership and vision of President Trump, for whom I have been honored to work for the better part of a decade. Yeah, I don't know what this is referring to. Exactly, I haven't seen the oh, I guess this must be it. Trump Chief of Staff Susie Wiles says president has an alcoholic's personality. What? No idea. From fucking pardon me. CNN Vanity Fair. Interviews with Vanity Fair. Across more than 10 interviews, Miles spoke frankly about working for Trump, saying he has an alcoholic's personality, despite being a known teetotaler and not touching alcohol like ever. Yeah, whatever that means. Desperate for content, I guess. Who dis? Tim Sheehy of Montana. Not sure. Well, let's see what he's about here.
But to go after Admiral Bradley, to go after brave men and women in uniform who are conducting these attacks, is to indict the very system that was used bipartisanly for the last 24 years. I personally was involved in many of these operations, from kinetic strikes to direct action operations. And the process we have is legally sound. It's been supported by legal opinions for a quarter century now.
Got to be referring to the drug boat strikes.
Of how we find these people, we fix them, and we finish them. And keep in mind, if we don't drop a bomb, and we decide to interdict, as is being said by many folks, we have an obligation to send a team to interdict. When we make that decision, you're putting our lives at risk. You're putting Americans' lives at risk. Just about a year and a half ago, you remember 2 SEALs were killed interdicting a vessel at night in the Red Sea. Interdicting a vessel underway is perhaps the most dangerous mission we have in our entire military inventory. When we task our commandos to go out and attack a vessel underway, that's an incredibly high-risk mission. So when folks say, well, we should be interdicting, that's easy for you to say here in this building between 2 cups of cappuccinos. It's a lot harder to send that 24-year-old operator out there who's got a wife and kids and tell him in the middle of the night you got to fast trip out of a helicopter, scuba dive under a ship, climb up the side of that, and fight your way onto a vessel, because we're more worried about the lives of drug dealers than we are our own people. And that's a high-risk mission.
J.D. Vance in Pennsylvania. Brief clip.
President, my friends, we are building again. We are investing in the United States of America again. You heard our Secretary of Labor talk about it. 61,000 jobs added in the month of November, and that's not all. We saw private sector wage growth grow at a rate of 4.2%. You know what that means? That means we're seeing the fastest private sector wage growth that we have seen in this country in many, many years. And we're doing it by having a president and an administration that believes in you and fights for you. That is what we're trying to do every single day. Now, I will say, as excited as
freaking thing.
I was to be here this morning, I remember when I got off the airplane, and it is cold. And, you know, like a good gentleman, I let my wife come down the steps first, and then I get to the bottom of the steps, and there's a bunch of firefighters from the Great Lehigh Valley who want to take a photo with me. And obviously, I love our firefighters. I'm happy to take a photo. Now, here's the problem. To the right of me is all these media cameras, probably brought.
Well, I got cut off in the middle. All right. No idea.
$60,000 good-paying jobs for Pennsylvania families, and we're bringing in, just in this one Commonwealth, $100 billion of new investment into this great place. That is real opportunity for the American people. That is real wage growth for the American people. And look, I grew up in a community. I was raised by my grandmother in a community where, when I was growing up, the factories were closing down. And those good-paying jobs, they weren't coming into our communities. They were getting shipped overseas by politicians in Washington, D.C. The President of the United States has set this entire administration on a different course. We are sick of rewarding companies that ship jobs overseas. We're going to reward companies that build right here in America and give Americans good wages to do it. And you already see it, my friends. You already see it in some of the numbers that we're seeing. When I talk about what we are most proud of, I probably start with what we've been able to do at the southern border, and we'll talk about that in a second. But right after that is, if you go to the Biden administration, the average American family lost $3,000 of take-home pay through the terrible inflation of the Biden administration. In just 10 months, of the Trump administration, the average American family has gained about $1,000 of take-home pay. Now that difference could not be starker. When Joe Biden was president for 4 years, he took $3,000 out of your pocket. And in just 10 months of the president's leadership, we have put $1,000 back in your pocket. That's what that means. And that's just...
I don't know what that was. Someone yelled something.
the beginning, my friends. That is just the beginning. Because if you...
Missed it. Excuse me. Okay, I guess he took questions too. That's good, at least. Americans say costs are still too high. Well, yeah. How long will it take for them to actually experience lower costs?
That they're experiencing high costs of groceries and other living expenses. How does the administration plan to lower those costs, and how long might that take for them to experience those lower costs?
Well, Jackson, as I said earlier, I think the best way to understand this is if the American people had $3,000 taken out of their pocket, it's going to take a little bit of time before they really feel like that money's been put back in their pocket. That just takes a lot of time. It's a lot of work. And I think the best way to do it is, on the one hand, you got to lower costs. That's why we're lowering regulations on American energy to get gas and groceries down. Now, how does energy connect to groceries? Because if the truck that takes the groceries to the grocery store is paying out the wazoo for diesel fuel, then that means every American is going to be paying more at the grocery. If the farmers who actually grow our food are paying way too much for fuel and fertilizer, that means American citizens are not going to be able to afford their groceries. So if we lower the price of energy, we lower the price of groceries, we lower the price of gasoline, and importantly, we bring good jobs back into this country so that wages go up, that's how you give people a shot at the American dream again. That is our job. That is what we ran on. That is what we promised to do. And after 11 months, again, the average American family is $1,000 richer than they were 11 months ago. Now, if you had $3,000 taken out of your pocket by the Biden administration, of course you're still struggling to get by.
They're going to have to get diesel costs down big time to really make a dent in, well, you know, everything broadly.
Rome was not built in a day, but we are committed every single day to making every single American who works hard and play by the rules, we want them to get a little bit richer every single day. And we do believe that if we keep on making the right decisions, we keep on investing in the United States of America, we are going to find that the American citizens can afford a good life in their country again. That's our obligation, and that's what we're trying to do. I remember my grandmother in times like this of the holidays. Of course, I think a lot of us remember the loved ones that we've lost. I remember my dear Mamaw. That's what I called her.
Dear Mamaw. What a line.
And I was in a particularly hard math class in high school. And she said, what do you need to do well in this class? My grades weren't so good. And she went out, even though she could not afford even the essentials in life, she went out and got me a calculator, a very expensive calculator, so that I could do well in this math class. I remember what it feels like for American families.
Was that in the movie? Was that in the movie? I feel like that was in the movie.
When you have the government take $3,000 out of your pocket through higher taxes and higher inflation. I know what it's like for a woman who's trying to support a grandson but can't afford her prescription drugs because pharmaceutical companies are taking advantage of the United States of America. I remember what it's like when you have to choose between putting food on the table or getting the prescription that you need to stay healthy. And that is not a life that Donald Trump or I want for the citizens in the greatest country in the world. We want you. We want you to be able to afford the things that you have to give your kids and your grandkids a good life.
That would definitely be nice.
We want you to check your credit card statement and for that to be an annoyance, something you got to do rather than something that causes a lot of stress and anxiety. We don't want a single parent or grandparent to have to look at their checking account and decide whether they're going to buy food or whether they're going to buy medicine this month. We are fighting for you every single day, and I don't want you to think for 1 second that because Joe Biden gave us the worst economy in the world that we forget it. No, we know. We know exactly what we were left with. We know exactly the consequences that it's caused for so many of our great families all across Pennsylvania. And I promise you, there is no person more impatient to solve the affordability crisis than Donald J. Trump, the President of the United States.
More than anything, they're gonna have to. I mean, diesel and the cost of goods is one thing, a big thing that they're definitely going to have to figure out. But on top of all that, maybe even bigger, they really got to get housing costs figured out. Out of fucking control, man. Inexcusable. That clock is ticking. If they don't make tangible progress over the next 10 months. Looking good. Porter asks J.D. Vance if he's worried that affordability will tank Republicans in the 2026 midterms. Speaking of, here we go. Well, let's hear it.
Time to fix things, but the political reality is that the midterms are next year.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a lot of time. Very fair point.
Are you worried that affordability is a political liability for your administration and for Republicans?
Look, I'm not worried about the politics because I believe fundamentally in the wisdom of the American people. When we go out there and we tell our story, that gasoline and energy got way too high under Joe Biden's administration, but we've lowered the cost of energy.
You can say that till the cows come home, but that's not going to be enough. I mean, just blaming the other guys. We've heard that line before, all right? Like, it only gets you so far.
The American people will understand that. The American people know that. When we go out there and talk about the fact that the affordability crisis that happened under Joe Biden's administration made a lot of Americans poorer and working every single day to put money back in their pocket, I think the American people will understand and agree with that. Of course,
I certainly understand that it is an uphill battle in so many ways.
They're going to be the ones who make the final decision. But I feel very confident that if we keep wages high, we keep energy prices low, we keep on chipping away at the affordability crisis created by Joe Biden's administration, yes, I believe the American people are going to reward us because the American people are smart. They know Rome wasn't built in a day. They know what Joe Biden broke is not going to get fixed in a week. We got to stay with it. We got to keep on working on bringing good jobs and money back into the United States of America. And that it already has paid major dividends for the American people. It's going to pay a lot more in the year to come.
I am more than willing to grant them that at this point. It has indeed only been, 10, 11 months, a vast majority of which was, and it really kind of still is, being held up by, various appointments being squashed and held back, and, judges just gumming up the works at every frickin' turn. It's been a mess for them. Like, I get that. I'm willing to grant them some measure of slack there, but as I said, they got, obviously, until midterms next year, they got 11 months, less than 11 months to make very visible progress on a lot of things, or there's big trouble afoot. I mean, the excuse of, the appointments are being held up is starting to run out. They're starting to get to the point where that's just not gonna be holding them up anymore. The judges are certainly still an issue, and that's got to be addressed somehow, if at all possible. I guess that'll be up to the Supreme Court. I think they're. I don't know how long that's going to take, but I wouldn't think it would take too long. It's a pretty important issue, so we'll see. Yeah, they need to end the filibuster. Red 50 says. We'll see if they end up pulling that off. Whether that ends up making a difference. I got quite a year ahead of them. I'll do.
Behind the scenes, what's going on actually behind the scenes of the Trump
behind the scenes? Okay.
Administration, and I'll tell you, the president is exactly in private who he is in public. Like, I'll tell you a little story. Maybe a week or so ago, I walk into the Oval Office, and Marco and I are sitting there talking with the president about something. He says, "Stop." And he looks at our shoes and says, "You guys have terrible shoes." So he goes and gets a shoe catalog. Now remember, this is the Christmas season, so the president's got some holiday cheer. He goes and gets a shoe catalog and gets his favorite shoes and orders like 4 pairs of shoes for me and 4 pairs of shoes for Marco, because he's like, we need our vice president or secretary of state to look their very best. And, then we went back to talk.
He's buying shoes for them.
About whatever major, international issue we were talking about. Again, he is exactly in private who he is in public.
It's hilarious.
That's not true of most people in Washington, D.C. It's not. And I've seen so many people who will say one thing to the president's face, Democrats and Republicans, and then will do the exact opposite behind the scenes. You know why I really, you know what they are, and you know why I really love Susie Wiles? Because Susie is who she is in the president's presence. She's the same exact person when the president isn't around. And then we'll do the exact opposite behind the scenes. You know why I really...
Oh, they're traitors. Yeah, that's what they said. They're traitors. Hey, JD Vance says he hopes Trump officials and Republicans stop giving so many interviews to the fake news. Well, I mean... Didn't you kind of start that? You were the guy that was doing that. You kind of led the way on this, man.
And the last thing I'll say is, if any of us have learned a lesson from that Vanity Fair article, I hope that the lesson is we should be giving fewer interviews to mainstream media outlets. So with that lesson internalized, I'm going to stop taking questions and just leave you with one. And the last thing I'll say is, if any of us have learned a lesson from that Vanity Fair article.
More on Susie.
I really love Susie Wiles because Susie is who she is in the president's presence. She's the same exact person when the president isn't around. I've never seen Susie Wiles say something to the president and then go and counteract him or subvert his will behind the scenes. And that's what you want in a staffer. Because as much as I love Susie, the American people didn't elect any staffer. They elected the President of the United States. And what you want in a staffer is a person who understands they are there to effectuate the will of the American people, and they're there to follow the orders of the duly elected Commander-in-Chief of the United States. And Susie Wiles, we have our disagreements. We agree on much more than we disagree, but I've never seen her be disloyal to the President of the United States, and that makes her the best.
I have always heard about her.
White House Chief of Staff that I think.
Which, I mean, I suppose that's what you want in that role.
The President could ask for.
Really? I mean, what more could you ask for? I suppose in a Chief of Staff, that's top of the list, Oh, so check this out. Hold up. Pop over here real quick. 5th person arrested in this apparent like New Year's Eve bombing plot. I forget where this was supposed to be. But fifth person is a Trantifa Marine vet out to recreate Waco on ice. Oh, so it was intended to be an attack on ice. What is that creepy ass shit on its neck? Like a fucked up moth or something? Mixed with a skull? Actually, that is... I think that's exactly what that is. What the fuck? Pardon me. Ew. Ugh. Oh, Pinola. That New Orleans? Right? New Orleans, Louisiana. So they were trying to pull this in New Orleans, huh? Okay. Yikes. I guess that would fit with all the recent action in New Orleans. Let me see what the latest is. At least in mainstream reporting. Okay. Arrested. Hour. Okay. Good morning. Okay, let's see the local news. Let's see that.
4 people have been arrested in California, charged with plotting a series of bombing attacks for New Year's Eve. The coordinated bombings targeted multiple locations across Los Angeles, as well as plans to target ICE agents and vehicles. Officials say the 4 in custody have ties to an extremist anti-government group identified as the Turtle Island Liberation Front.
The subject arrested envisioned planting backpacks with improvised explosive devices to be detonated at multiple locations in Southern California, targeting U.S. companies. These bombs were to blow up at the same time on midnight this New Year's Eve.
A 5th person linked to the anti-government group was arrested by the FBI in New Orleans for allegedly planning a separate attack.
Hmm.
4 people.
Oh, hold on. What was that? Separate one being planned?
Linked to the anti-government group was arrested by the FBI in New Orleans for allegedly planning
a separate attack. Interesting. Okay. Huh. All right, let's keep going here. JD Vance is asked if he's a conspiracy theorist. Okay.
Conspiracy theorist. Sometimes I am a conspiracy theorist, but I only believe in the conspiracy theories that are true.
Yeah. It's a good answer. We'll hand him that one.
And by the way, Susie and I have joked in private and in public about that for a long time. For example, I believed in the crazy conspiracy theory back in 2020 that it was stupid to mask 3-year-olds at the height of the COVID pandemic, that we should actually let them develop some language skills. You know, I believed in this crazy conspiracy theory that the media and the government were covering up the fact that Joe Biden was clearly unable to do the job.
Pretty good low stakes examples that most normies can like kind of get on board with at this point. Auto pen. Ooh, nice. There you go, crowd person.
And I believed in the conspiracy theory that Joe Biden was trying to throw his political opponents in jail rather than win an argument against his political opponents. So At least on some of these conspiracy theories, it turns out that a conspiracy theory is just something that was true 6 months before the media admitted it. And that's my understanding.
Oh boy, what is this? Mind-blowing data. Head on terror attacks. All right, let's hear it.
So I actually couldn't believe this stat was real until I looked it up myself. But there's been over 65,000 Islamist terror attacks since 9/11. 65,000 spread over 70 countries. And we're not supposed to...
Oh yeah, I buy it. I believe it.
...draw any conclusions from this, right? They're just coincidences. 65,000 coincidences. And just in case you think I'm cherry-picking data, which would be a natural conclusion, you might ask, what about the other religions? So let's look at them. If you take the world's other 4 major religions, Christianity, Hinduism, Judaism, and Buddhism, those 4 religions combined account for roughly 2% of all religiously motivated terror attacks. Islam is responsible for the other 98%. And by the way, no one is more knowledgeable about this fact than the Muslim leaders themselves, who have been very successful imprisoning, eliminating, and sending away all of their true believers into the arms of white liberals in the West who are just so eager to bring them in. So I actually...
Oh, yeah. Okay, Tim Burchett, just briefed by Marco Rubio and Pete Hegseth, confirmed the narco strikes are 100% legal, saying lawyers are involved every step of the way. I'm sure, quite sure that that's true. Regarding the lawyers.
Hey everybody, Tim Burchett, just leaving the briefing with Secretary Hegseth and Secretary Rubio and military leaders about the legality of these strikes on these drug dealers that are pumping poison into our streets. I was glad to hear it's actually a 3-tier system. Can't go into all the details, but every step of the way there's lawyers making sure that what they're doing is legal. What the press isn't reporting is there's several of these have just been introductions where they just seized the boats and the drugs and nobody got killed because one of those 3 areas was not did not fulfill that, so they just had to stop them. And guess what? Every one of them, they were carrying drugs, but they couldn't prove that they were part of a terrorist organization or otherwise. So I'm very well.
Those deadgums.
Very pleased. Oddly enough, I think they've killed it's less than 100 drug dealers or pushers or whatever you want to call them. In that, it's about averages. It seems like about a little over 3 people per strike, and in that time, you just can't imagine the thousands of people that have lost their lives or had to get Narcan and go back. But
oh yeah.
Anyway,
it's all over the place in DC. Narcan, like they have trucks, or vans, I guess, rather, handed out like freaking candy every week. Spot, or they'll drove or kind of hit different spots on different days. A lot of a lot of offices you'll see Narcan like sitting by the front door, because they just see people on the streets so often, like right out on their front stoop, right in front of their office or their business. Fucking plentyfold, doubled over, barely breathing. Including some members of the Trump admin, by the way. Like, I mean, like, having Narcan in their, literally, like, in their personal offices. I can tell you that. It's crazy. That's how fucked up it is. Bad. Speaker Johnson confirms there will not be a vote on extending ACA subsidies, saying many Republicans did want to vote on this Obamacare COVID-era subsidy that the Democrats created. Do we want to watch it? We got the gist. After over a year of delays and legal battles, Fulton County DA Fannie Willis set to testify under oath tomorrow, December 17th. That's right. This is before the Georgia Senate Special Committee on Investigations. We were also supposed to have Bill and Hillary Clinton testifying tomorrow, but I understand that has been postponed. Roughly a month. Bullshit. But that said, I suppose, you know, it's okay. It makes sense because we're supposed to get this document dump here within, you know, the next few days. And I'd much rather have that come out first. Have a bunch of questions come out of it, arise from it. And then we see it confronted in the testimony next month. U.S. designates Colombia's largest drug trafficking gang as terrorists. Which one? Who dis? That. Plan del Golfo. Never heard of them. But all right. Apparently the group, hold on, did I read that right? Apparently the group is in talks with Colombia's current leftist government. Yeah. Yep. Just as the group engaged in talks with the country's leftist government. Wow. Somali TPS holders, temporary protective status, are our neighbors, co-workers, and small business owners. Ilhan Omar says they've built their lives here. On whose backs again, Ilhan? Yeah. Okay, FBI doubted probable cause for the Mar-a-Lago raid, but pushed it forward anyway amid pressure from the Biden DOJ. Emails reveal.
Now, joining us now with more is the attorney for former President Donald Trump. Alina Habba is with us, along with Fox News legal analyst Greg Jarrett is with us. Alina, let me go to this very important question of how Hillary was treated, how Sandy Berger was treated.
I don't know if this is might just be a semi-related video. Let's see the article. Yeah, the FBI apparently did not believe that it had probable cause to raid Mar-a-Lago. Move forward amid pressure from Biden DOJ, with an official saying he didn't give a damn about the optics. Apparently a more or less direct quote of the search. Very little has been developed related to who might be culpable for mishandling the documents. An FBI official serving as an assistant special agent in charge wrote to another FBI official, Anthony Riedlinger. From the interviews, WFO Washington Field Office has gathered information suggesting that there may be additional boxes, presumably of the same type as were sent back to National Records Administration in January at Mar-a-Lago. Washington Field Office has been drafting a search warrant affidavit related to these potential boxes, but has some concerns that the information is single source, has not been corroborated, and may be dated. The official continues. DOJ CES opines, however, that the SWs, not sure, meet the probable cause standard. Search warrants meet the probable cause standard. Even as we continue down the path towards a search warrant, Washington field office believes that a reasonable conversation with the former president's attorney, stating that the FBI and DOJ are readying a search warrant and have developed information that there are more documents at Mar-a-Lago, ought not to be discounted. Which, if I remember right, they did end up completely not doing. Like, they didn't bother with that at all. They just straight up raided, rather than trying to do it peacefully. At a minimum, even if the former president's attorney is correct and the documents are all or were all declassified or believed to be declassified, it can be reasonably argued that the documents remain sensitive and should be properly secured until the matter of classification is sorted out. This conversation could easily be accomplished at the same time that Washington field office presses forward with the investigation and continues building out the search warrant. Weeks later, an FBI agent writes an email stating, "We haven't generated any new facts, but keep being given draft after draft after draft. Absent a witness coming forward with recent information about classified info on site, at what point is it fair to table this?" The agent writes, "It is time-consuming for the team and not productive if there are no new facts supporting probable cause." Wow. Process just move forward regardless of concerns. Which were clearly repeatedly stated. Oh, here's Solomon talking about it.
This is a blockbuster. You're telling me there actually exists communications between people that show that they didn't have probable cause, which, remember, back in August that year, there was I think it was 21, there was this whole firestorm about this. And they went on TV every night and said that. You're saying they not only they had a discussion behind it, they actually went out and lied about it in media every single day on MSNBC and in the New York Times?
Well, here's the real question. We're going to have to find out what they represented to the judge to get that search warrant signed, because the FBI, the Washington field office of the FBI, which, by the way, was no fan of Donald Trump's. They were behind January 6th. They were behind Russia collusion. They were telling the Biden Justice Department there was not a probable cause to raid Mar-a-Lago. That is a significant. These are emails and memos from inside the Washington field office of the FBI, an anti-Trump field office. That is a really significant memo. We haven't seen the documents yet. We know what they generally say, but we're going to see. They're going to get turned over to Grassley in Jordan today, and then Jack Smith's on the Hill tomorrow for a deposition. If he shows up, I'm sure he's going to be confronted by these documents.
Are you implying that Merrick Garland then made the decision against facts that they didn't have probable cause? This all the way up to Merrick Garland, sir?
Well, we don't know who approved the search warrant request, so those are important things. We got to get those documents unmasked in the court. But now we're getting a sense of it. I think the package that comes out today will give us new characters, new players, and new opportunities to get to the bottom of this. But this potentially is prosecutable. It could be a disbarable offense if you lied as a lawyer. And, of course, it gives President Trump a tort that could be pretty significant on the civil side.
Ooh. There it is, his announcement. "My fellow Americans," Trump says, "I will be giving an address to the nation tomorrow night, live from the White House at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I look forward to seeing you then. It has been a great year for our country, and the best is yet to come." I mean, I'm sure a lot of people are getting like super excited about it because, you know, they always do. Personally, I would expect just a year-end review of administration accomplishments and so forth. Maybe a little interesting tidbits sprinkled in there. You never know, but leftists in Chicago in full meltdown after their propagandists spread blatant lies about ICE pulling out of the city. They were duped into thinking that when Bovino headed to North Carolina, every immigration agent would pack up and follow.
You guys can't take nobody
somebody without a warrant, though? Why are you guys taking them? Why are you guys even taking this guy, though?
Probable cause, ho.
Hey! They took him already! They took him out already.
Wah, wah.
Get out. Those are the words, according to government prosecutors, that Judge Hannah Dugan said to federal agents back on April 18th.
Oh, the wackadoo judge that, held up an illegal getting deported.
Friday at the Milwaukee County Courthouse. Dugan is on trial here at the federal courthouse, charged with knowingly hiding a person and helping a person evade authorities, even though that person questioned, Eduardo Flores Ruiz, was captured just outside the courthouse on that very day. In their opening statement, the defense team, led by Stephen Biskupik, who used to be a federal prosecutor, said there was anger, confusion, and paranoia over a lack of policy on how judges in Milwaukee County should handle ICE agents in the courthouse and in their courtroom. Both sides laying out where this trial will go over the next 5 days. The first witnesses have begun. Get out. Those are the words.
Minnesotans open up about the massive fraud scandal unfolding in their state. Let's hear it.
Yeah, it pisses me off. It's not cool. And if anything, I want my money back.
Once you find out that they're doing things like this, it's like, well, what can I really do about it?
Where's the buck stop here? I mean, honestly, I think it would be at the governor's level.
For some reason, the
Oh, you have no idea how true that might be, my friend.
people continue to vote for Fry, so I think that would at least somewhat fall on him, or, I mean, Tim Walz, or at least someone who cares and says that they care about Minnesotans.
It's gotten worse, and no disrespect to the people who are running it, well, a little bit, but it's like, I feel like they just don't care about the little people. Everything in general, like, that could be fixed isn't being fixed. And with how much money that everyone is paying in towards the government, they have the ability to fix it.
Either, you have the worst accountants in the entire world, or you just don't care.
Yikes. All right. Army Reserve.
You go, we go. Your Army Reserve has the bulk of enabling capacity for the entire United States Army in theater line haul for bulk petroleum, theater opening, signal commands, theater engineer commands. So we continue to drive on our purpose, which is to deliver combat-ready soldiers and formations at time of need in support of the nation. 10,000 United States Army Reserve soldiers deployed around the world so we can train with our active component teammates like we would do on the battlefield.
Twice a citizen! Combat ready!
Train as you fight. Our Army Reserve is out there getting after it. Twice a citizen, combat ready, this will defend.
Oh, Nick Reiner hires high-powered defense attorney Alan Jackson in murder case. Yeah, who did he defend? Spacey? Yep. Kevin Spacey, Harvey Weinstein. Oh, man. have access to his own money somehow. Access says he will not release unedited video of the controversial boat strike. That ought to piss people off. Mark Kelly whining about the investigation into him.
Surprised by the answer.
DOD reached out to you at all.
The last thing I heard from DOD regarding the person was in 2011 when I retired from the United States Navy and was given the Legion of Merit for my service. So again, yeah, this is all a bunch of bullshit. And the reason why, I think, is because this is just about sending a message to retired service members, active duty service members, government employees. Do not speak out against this president or there will be consequences. So it's a lot bigger than, just dealing with me. And that's why they don't handle this professionally. That he would expect at some point that DOD would notify me of an investigation, but they haven't. And they haven't because I think what they really care about is the public message. They're going after me, a U.S. Senator, for something I said that was lawful, is the truth, something people are trained on. It was something that Pete Hegseth said in 2016 multiple times. And in his case, specifically about this president and his concerns. They don't want other people saying these kind of things. So they're trying to shut people up. But in this case, they picked the wrong guy. I'm not going to shut up about this. I'm going to continue to do my job. I'm going to stick up for our Constitution. I mean, I think Pete Hegseth is a guy who goes to work every day to try to figure out how does he please the president. That's a recipe for some major problems.
All right, thanks, folks.
Thank you.
As opposed to you, who's working to please, well, who exactly? Someone. Schumer on Hegseth in the video.
Okay, good morning. Look, I reiterated my demand of Secretary Hegseth in front of all 100 senators that he allow every senator to see the unedited version, the unedited video of what happened on September 2nd. He refused. The administration came to this briefing empty-handed. That's the major question that we face. And if they can't be transparent on this, how can you trust their transparency on all the other issues swirling about in the Caribbean? Every senator is entitled to see it. If there is no problem with sources and methods, because the senators will see it in the skiff. I also believe that every American should see an appropriate version of this, of the unedited, they should see an appropriate version of what happened on September the 2nd. I saw it. It was deeply troubling. In my Gang of 8 meeting last week, I asked Secretary Hegseth, let every senator see it. He said he'd think about it. Today, he came up with no answer and no tape.
So
His reasoning was that it might give things away that shouldn't be. I respect classification. When you do it in the skiff, that argument is undercut. It's just with senators in the skiff.
Can you help us understand if they gave any rationale of what the end goal of these strikes actually is? I imagine.
Look, that's the set, and I sat through this briefing once before last week. We do not, their policies in the Caribbean are unclear. We don't know what the limits are. We don't know where they'll stop. We don't know what the ultimate goal is. The president says different things at different times and contradicts himself. That's why we need full transparency, at least to the 100 senators, and much more transparency to the American people. We don't want another endless war. We don't want to stumble into something, and given Trump's erratic back and forth on this issue, I worry about that. So do many Americans.
Senator Warner on the Venezuela briefing.
That,
he didn't get a chance to ask his question.
because the presentation was so long and the briefing was fairly short, I didn't get a chance to ask my question, but nothing's changed. I received no new information. It feels like, in terms of the video, they're going to allow SAS to see it. I think they're trying to run out the clock in terms of holding off giving it to the rest of the senators. So then the Senate doesn't see it before we break for the holidays. I also find it more than disturbing that the requests I've made and others in a bipartisan way, execution order, the after action report, from the legal opinion that was around this specific strike on September 2nd, and for that matter, whether the overall arching policy document was changed between September 2nd and it was actually written on September 5th. I got none of those answers. And as somebody who has cautioned my colleagues about making accusations, because once you make some of these accusations, you can't get them back. It's been more than frustrating to think that the documentation that might lend to their case, why they're not willing to give it to us. I do believe that General Kane, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, would like to share that. I think the person, again, who, whether it's the video or sharing the documentation, pulling this back is Pete excellent.
Here's my prediction. You're going to interview
Eric Schmidt,
Democrat, and they're going to act like their questions weren't answered. They're going to act like this is some work run, and it's totally hypocritical. Number one, Barack Obama took out American citizens. You didn't hear anything from the Democrats about that. Through drone strikes. And it's also a really dangerous road to go down to sow this sort of doubt among not just service members in the chain of command, but also among the American people. So 100% justified to do it. We finally have a president who cares about Americans in our hemisphere, but the Democrats can't get over Trump and Hexa. So their criticisms aren't based on the law. If you have a problem with the operation, that's a political question. But to try to turn this into what they turned it into, I think is highly irresponsible. So here's my prediction. You're going to interview
Speaker Johnson reveals House Republicans will surge starting in January to codify up to 150 of President Trump's executive orders. I mean, good, they do need to do that. Oh, God. What did Wacko Waltz up to now?
Hey, good morning, everybody. Governor Walz here. Tuesday, 16th of December. Special election here in my House district. So just encouraging everybody. Of course, polls are open here, 7 a.m. Thank you to the poll workers here, set up, all ready to go. Get out and cast your vote this important special election for the Minnesota State House. Hey, good morning, everybody.
Rubio, when did Rubio do? Oh, officially designated Clan de Golfo as a terrorist organization. Yep. Oh, Melania's film titled Melania, the film. The trailer, I guess, is set to launch tomorrow. Interesting. Okay.
Got a big announcement, right?
That's right. Tomorrow on Fox and Friends, we are going to unveil a world-exclusive first look at the trailer for Melania, the film. We've been talking about this. Remember, during the campaign or during the election, you got to we're going to get to follow her behind the scenes. And it comes out soon. And so tomorrow, we're going to see the trailer.
Yeah, we got the exclusive. So we don't have anything for you today, but tomorrow you're going to watch Fox and Friends and want to see that special treat.
I'm so excited.
You're going to see her as a parent. You're going to see her as a businesswoman. You're going to see her as a first lady. You're going to see her in action in Washington, and then what she does
when she's not in Washington,
So,
when her husband wasn't president.
We saw the biggest comeback in political history from Donald Trump. Now you're going to see it from Melania Trump's lens, which is a little different.
And she's a fabulous mother. She's raised this great child, and you're going to see what that's like for her, what it's like to be married to the president, and during the campaign. So you'll get an exclusive look
Interesting.
right here on Fox tomorrow.
Huh, okay. Yeah, we saw Michelle Reiner. Bill Gates on Trump's relationship with Silicon Valley.
The relationship between Silicon Valley and Washington has had many iterations. Right now, it's pretty cozy, actually. The Trump administration has really opened its arms to a lot of those friends of yours. What do you make of that, the current state of that relationship?
Yeah, I'd say, if you take MAGA broadly, tech billionaires and their globalist behaviors and, hiring talent everywhere, it's not 100% clear. But President Trump himself is absolutely, saying to these companies, hey, how can I facilitate your work? Are they slowing you down in Europe? Are they slowing you down, someplace? How can I help you go at full speed? I think the tech industry is always going to have a complex relationship with the government. And, as AI job displacement is starting to take place, that I think will be significant over the next even 2-3 years, I think the parties are going to have to say, hey, what's your party's view on how you're going to help me deal with these dramatic changes?
Two Minnesota districts close high schools due to potential threats. Out of an abundance of caution. Okay. Like, what happened? Officers were informed of multiple concerning messages posted online that referenced possible harm directed at several high schools within the district. No more info.
Oh, yeah, whoever's...
Oh, yes. Acted viral videos, man. All right, Andrew Colvett has reacted to the, oh, yeah, that video with the Target lady.
Why? They let you wear that shirt here? Yes. Why?
I guess Colvett's charge of Turning Point. Is that right? Yeah. Spokesman says if anyone can DM a way to get in touch with this wonderful woman who's needlessly harassed for honoring Charlie, I'd love to personally thank her and send her some gifts. Whoa. Interesting. MIT professor shot and killed at his Massachusetts home. Active in ongoing homicide investigation. What happened there? Which one? Nuno Luriro? Oh, one of the most important voices in nuclear fusion research? Really? Oh shit. Is this the guy? Ah. Professor of nuclear science and engineering and physics at MIT. Director of MIT's Plasma Science and Fusion Center. Led one of the world's premier fusion research labs. Dude, that's something freaking screwy happened here. Just, oh. And to hear more about that one. Wow. All right. Oh, here's news bit on it.
It's in fusion
professor at MIT, shot and killed in Brookline. The school says Nuno Loureiro was the director of the school's Plasma Science and Fusion Center. The Norfolk County District Attorney's Office says the 47-year-old was shot inside his home on Gibbs Street last night. He was rushed to the hospital where he died this morning. His death is being treated as a homicide, but no word on any arrests. We'll be back all afternoon with breaking news and Fusion.
Wow. What the heck? Doctor and mother of two found dead in freezer at a Miami Dollar Tree.
After Miami police said 32-year-old Helen Maciel Garay Sanchez was found dead inside a freezer Sunday.
The heck?
You start thinking about what's going on, and I got concerned with what I just learned, that there was a person found dead.
Customers we spoke with shocked to hear of the death of a woman described in this GoFundMe page as an anesthesiologist originally from Nicaragua who was a mother of two children who sadly lost her life while visiting Miami.
So said that the workers at the Dollar Tree don't recognize her.
Investigators said she was found just after 8 a.m. by an employee at the Dollar Tree, and it appears Garay Sanchez walked into the store by herself Saturday night, didn't make a purchase, but made her way to a restricted employee-only area.
What the heck?
Where the freezers are located. She remained inside.
Probably meeting with some employee. Only a matter of time before they find him.
Inside overnight, and tragically, her body was found the following day. After Miami police.
Yikes. Russia energy ally Hungary signs U.S. gas deal. Huh. Okay. Tomorrow, President Trump will be heading to Dover Air Force Base to meet with the families of the soldiers killed in Syria to receive their bodies here at home. Okay. Trump admin formally demanding the the resignation of Tim Walz due to massive fraud and dereliction of duty. Oh shit. Linda McMahon just caught Minnesota, excuse me, engaging in massive education fraud where ghost students received millions of taxpayer dollars and pocketed the cash. I implore you to resign and make way for more capable leadership. Somehow I doubt he'll do it. Unless, of course, they got something real to hang over his head, which makes. Okay.
And tomorrow, unfortunately and very sadly, President Trump will be heading to Dover Air Force Base to meet with the families of the fallen and to receive their bodies here at home.
Okay, Trump just signed a proclamation further restricting and limiting the entry of foreign nationals to protect the security of the United States. Okay. Continues full restrictions and entry limitations of nationals from the original 12 high-risk countries. Afghanistan, Burma, Chad, Republic of Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen. And adds full restrictions and entry limitations on 5 additional countries: Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, South Sudan, Syria, as well as individuals holding Palestinian Authority-issued travel documents. Huh. And partial restrictions on 15 additional countries. Bunch of African countries, mostly. Tim Walz just caught red-handed with massive snap fraud, and President Trump's admin just gave Walz 30 days until he faces being cut off from the program. Oh. Well, how about that? More. Secretary Brooke Rollins, USDA. The attached requires you to verify SNAP participants in the next 30 days. TikTok. Does it actually say that? In the thing? Or did she He must have posted this somewhere or something. That's interesting. Wow. Well, it looks like the walls are closing in on Tim. Fascinating. Speculation swirling after Brown University allegedly scrubs Free Palestine activist Mustafa Karbouch from their webpage. Is this like a suspect or something in the shooting? I don't know. Other people's profiles are listed normally on Brown's Center for Middle East Studies page. Karbouch page not found. Well, that body type's definitely a fit. Yeah. Yep, all references removed. Archive profiles describe Mustafa as a queer Palestinian activist. Oh, for the God. And a third-generation Palestinian refugee. Had all of them. Before they were taken down. Yep. Raised in Lebanon, apparently. Highly moved by questions of indigeneity, justice, and inclusion. And particularly interested in the intersection of queer studies with Palestinian studies. You can find the intersection at the bottom of a 10-plus story building. What? Chuck Schumer refuses 3 times to rule out another government shutdown in January.
Yes. You mentioned January 1st. There's also a January 30th deadline to fund the government. Do you have any expectation that Democrats might tie that to ACA like you did last time to try to get a result?
Look, just as I said, it's on the Republicans that we haven't had health care done. After January 1st, it's very, very hard to put it back in the bottom. Go ahead, Emmanuel. I would get to you.
I appreciate it. Will you then vote to shut the government down on January 30th if you don't get an extension of ACA subsidies?
As I said, the bottom line is very simple, and that is that the way to solve this problem, because the toothpaste is already out of the tube, is get it done by January 1st. The Republicans, if they care so much and feel the heat, they should make sure they pass our bill. Yes.
Oh boy. Drunk Tim Kaine calls narco-terrorists who are smuggling massive amounts of illegal drugs into the U.S. struggling survivors.
I'd like to
poor babies.
share with you my concerns about the individuals who've been killed, but I can't for the same reason. I'd like to share with you my concerns about the second strike that killed struggling survivors clinging to the shipwreck on September 2.
Clinging to the drugs?
But I can't fully explain.
Okay, Tim. Cling to your bottle. And shut up. Trump expands travel ban to 30-plus countries. Indeed. Australian police say the Bondi Beach Hanukkah massacre was an ISIS-inspired terror attack. 15 total were killed. That's what the count's up to now, huh? Yes. 25 wounded. Like they held a long presser here. 25 minutes long.
Taking place, who have about the doubt in Syria.
Oh, no, it's just Fox talking about it. All right. Biden's State Department appeared to ignore emails from would-be Trump assassin Ryan Ruth. Really? Ryan Ruth apparently tried and seemingly failed to get the Biden State Department to aid his effort to recruit foreign soldiers for the war in Ukraine. Emails obtained by the Daily Caller show. The records, which were released as a result of a FOIA lawsuit filed by the Center to Advance Security in America, raised questions about who was aware of Ruth's activities, and whether there was any formal attempt to follow up with him. Okay. See. Self-published a book in 2023 on Ukraine's unwinnable war, which included a line that seemed to tell Iran that it was free to assassinate Trump. He was also interviewed in a March 2023 New York Times article about Americans who traveled to Ukraine to volunteer with the war effort. Another American who met Ruth in Ukraine warned U.S. authorities about his threats of violence, informing a Customs and Border Protection official in June 2022 that he was a ticking time bomb. Okay, now, through aggressive FOIA litigation, CASA has uncovered Ryan Ruth's attempts to communicate with the Biden State Department. Several unanswered questions remain regarding these communications. We still don't know whether the Biden admin responded in any substantive way to Ruth and the contents of those communications. The American people deserve answers here and should fight this litigation to shed as much light as possible. Okay. Ukrainian military units denied any ties to Ruth. In one March 23rd, 2023 email, Ruth claimed his team was already supplying background checks from the U.S. military through Representative Barry Moore of Alabama, stating there were 5,600 soldiers ready to be transported from Pakistan to a neighboring country of Ukraine and bussed into Ukraine to the front lines to fight. Moore's office said they never provided this assistance to Mr. Ruth. Can we believe them? I don't know. A staffer in our DC office took a meeting with Ruth after he visited without an appointment and asked to speak with someone. The staffer determined our office should have no further contact with Ruth and referred him to the State Department for any potential assistance. Oh, there you go. Ruth indicated in a separate email to then Ambassador Bridget Brink and Defense Attaché Garrick Harmon on October 29th, 2023, that one of his associates spoke with a member of the U.S. Embassy staff. Your staff has spoken with Redacted at great length, and most recently had a meeting where he was asked to provide the execution details of the project, as well as accounting of how funds would be allocated and spent, and he failed to submit those documents to you. Ruth wrote, I can be back in Ukraine at a moment's notice and arrange what you need. Because Redacted did not fulfill his obligation, he is ashamed to give me any contact information since he dropped the ball. Both emails received an auto reply. Very weird thing to send. Just unprovoked, unprompted. Bizarre. Okay, soon on healthcare. We're not going to pass anything this week, but there is a pathway in January. All right. Security footage of Luigi Mangione using a laptop at a Best Buy store was among the evidence turned over to the NYPD following his arrest. Wonder how that plays into things. Trump posting here today. Can anyone believe that the Unselect Committee of Political Hacks and Thugs illegally and criminally deleted and destroyed all information having to do with their investigation into January 6th? It really is crazy. The reason that they did this is because it all came out my way. I was proven innocent, and they were proven to be liars and cheats. They must be held accountable and pay a very steep price. What that might be. For those people that think I am close with the new owners of CBS, please understand that 60 Minutes has treated me far worse since the so-called takeover than they have ever treated me before. If they're friends, I'd hate to see my enemies. Doesn't seem to be wrong about that either. Like, they have been pretty... Yeah. Not changed. U.S. Attorney Janine Pirro visited West Virginia National Guardsman Andrew Wolf and reveals that he's making massive progress in his recovery. His communication skills and level of recovery is miraculous. Good. Speaker Johnson unveils a statue of Barbara Rose Johns, representing the Commonwealth of Virginia in the U.S. Capitol Emancipation Hall. Wow. Massive development. Over 200 ICE agents will surge into Kansas and Ohio to arrest Somali illegal aliens. Good. Get them the F out. Why only 200? Why not 1,000? Get them out. Who's better? The pro-Somali police chief of Minneapolis is being ripped for using the Bible to attack ICE agents and defend criminal illegal aliens from the podium. Seriously, in his uniform. Really?
Good morning. Thank you, Mayor. My name is Brian O'Hara, and I am the Minneapolis police chief. First off, thank you, Pastor Sergio, for inviting us back into this sacred space here. We know this has been a very, very difficult time for our communities here in the city. The fear that people are experiencing is real. As our mayor has said, it's been sad to drive down Lake Street and to see so many of our businesses either closed or empty.
Our businesses.
It's hard to see the impact that this is having on everyone in our community.
Everyone.
It's especially personal to me, having been raised a Catholic, to be in a Christian church this morning as we are approaching Christmas. And I cannot help but think of what is happening in our city today and how that echoes with how outsiders have been treated for thousands of years. How Mary and Joseph themselves were considered outsiders and forced to stay in a barn. That's what we're getting ready to commemorate as Christians around the world, while all of this fear is happening right here in our town. So my goal, and our goal as the Minneapolis Police, is to try and do what we can to reduce fear, to reduce anxiety, and to try and help provide for public safety and uphold human dignity in our city. We have several of our community service officers that are here in the back. If I'm going to ask them to please join us up here with our pastors, because I want people to see what the future of the Minneapolis Police Department looks like.
Oh my God.
This is not the same police department it was in 2020. Our officers who have stayed are incredibly resilient, and they are incredibly dedicated to our communities. And as
look at this the little girl.
You can see the department is very.
She looks 12.
Very rapidly.
This one looks also 12.
More and more diversified.
What the?
And these community service officers are here.
What even is this creature here? What am I looking at? What is this?
This morning, because as you can see, Pastor is getting ready to have food distributed to people who are too scared to leave their homes. And these community service officers have volunteered to help deliver food to people that are scared to leave their homes.
This is bonkers.
And that is the quality of the character of the men and women of this police department. So I just want to be clear, as our mayor has said.
This is insane.
Several times, and I have said, the Minneapolis Police Department is committed to honoring the human dignity of every person in our community. The Minneapolis Police Department does not.
Community service officers? What kind of Orwellian fuck garbage is that? Pardon me. Like, what is that?
Participate in immigration enforcement. We do not care and do not ask people about immigration status. People in our community need to know that they can feel confident that when they need help, they can call 911, and we will show up for everyone, and not be afraid to call because they think we might turn them over for some civil immigration violation. That's not our job. Our mission is to keep everyone in this town safe, and we cannot accomplish that if a huge segment.
Oh, I'm currently worried that I won't be served because I'm white, thanks to, you know, something equity.
Of this community is too scared to call us when they need help, because that makes everyone less safe. So thank you, and I want to turn it over to Pastor.
Wow. Wow, 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 wow. All right. That was quite a thing to finish up with. That is just... All right, well, that'll do it for me. Sunny is in.
Hi,
How you doing?
Pam.
Hello.
I'm doing good. Hello.
Good. Hey, that's good to hear. Yeah.
The news.
That's
Sorry.
crazy, right?
It's so
Nuts. Absolutely insane. Yep. Well,
So they really haven't said too much or found the Brown University shooter, or they're acting like they haven't?
actually, I meant to, like, put more on that one guy. This guy. Seemed like people were hinting that he was a suspect. Search that quick.
Oh, yeah. There is.
Mustafa Arbouch. See.
Oh, that 0 Hour has been putting out stuff about that, but I don't know what that account is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds like they're scrubbing his all the
Online
pages about him, so
presence?
it's like maybe the university is aware something that the public isn't. Oh, interesting. Okay, Rhode Island Attorney General says it's a dangerous road to go down to speculate that Mustafa Arbouch might be the shooter based on Brown scrubbing him from their website. So AG's already been confronted about this. I'll play the real quick.
Okay.
There are lots of reasons why a page might be taken down, particularly if there's chatter out there about, to your question, Amanda, about words that were spoken. It's easy to jump from someone saying words that were spoken to what those words are, to a particular name that reflects a motive targeting a particular person. That's a really dangerous road to go down. Really dangerous. If that name meant anything to this investigation, we would be out looking for that person. We would let you know we were looking for that person. You know, again, I think it's just a really dangerous road to go down. I know that in today's age, there are lots of things that people read into things. It's just a dangerous thing to do. And I would leave it to us to identify persons of interest and let us run them down. What the public can do...
Well, you don't seem to be doing the greatest job of that, guys, so...
Because we trust them so much.
Right? Ridiculous.
Because I'm sure they'll tell us the truth.
He does look like he's got the body type, though, for sure. He's got that build. Yeah. Well, I guess we'll see. We'll see if he ends up being the guy or not. Or too much longer. All right, I'll let you get to it.
I wonder why they took him off their website.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Like on his questions.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Have a good evening, Pam.
I will. Yeah, you have a good show.
Oh, all right. Thank you.
Yeah. All righty, guys. That's it for me. Okay. Yeah, I guess I will be back. Possibly in the morning. It depends on if Badass Uncle Sam's coming in tomorrow morning to watch. I think still kind of touch and go for the moment, but we will see. If not, I won't be back tomorrow evening. I will be in DC tomorrow evening. So Miss Sunny will be covering my time. But other than that, I'll be back. What'll it be? Thursday. Be back Thursday. All right. Bye-bye. Hope you all have a great night.